Evening one and all, welcome back to the Rags stream. Used to be the Rags and Jack stream, but Jack's not about at the minute. So I don't need to introduce this man. Everybody knows him, everybody loves him. If you want to donate, you can. Buy me a coffee, preferably. But follow me other links on Rumble and BitChute and bits and pieces. So without further ado, Woodlander.
How you doing, mate? You good?
Not too bad. I'm actually doing a lot better than I was a couple of months back. I'm now at pre-diabetic levels. So,
well, that's good, mate. That's good. At least you got back there. Can you give me 2 minutes? I just got to let the dog out because she's been eating in this room. So 2 minutes and I'll be back, folks. All right.
Right. While everybody's away, we'll play a game, right? Name this city, folks. Yeah. Let me know you can see this, folks. Can anybody guess where that's from? Vienna, Austria. I've seen that today. It's unbelievable. What the
same everywhere, Rags. It's the same everywhere, my friend.
Here, I started watching a lot of that cop videos. They're tasing people and even the lethal use of firearms and stuff like that on YouTube, and the amount of people from the Middle East that are shoplifting and knifing folk and committing crimes in America. Well, unbelievable.
It's not just in America, it's over here as well. Yes. You must be seeing it in Ireland.
Nope.
Yeah, if you import enough of these people, they'll do what they want when they want with impunity.
Yep.
Nothing happens. So now they walk into even some banal as Greg's. They'll walk into Greg's, they'll empty all the shelves and just walk out.
Yep.
The local supermarkets have been told not to even phone the police if it's under £250. So they know this. They'll rob everything up to a couple of £100 and literally walk out. And no one stops them. They're not allowed to touch them. They're not allowed to withhold them. So there's not really a lot anyone can do.
Sandra Spanish Sausage says Lidl's has a bouncer now. Now there's a place in Northern Ireland, it's Portadown, and their Lidl's has security guards, and there's a video out there on the interwebs, I think it's on YouTube as well, of these, what do you call them? Romanian gypsies. Hello. Hello. Nothing like a dog's love, hey. The Romanians, and they wear these big flouncy skirts. I don't know if you've seen the videos, but your man's going, he's going, right, I can see it from here. It's poking out. And she goes in, she's pockets sewn inside the skirts. She's so many layers of skirts on. And she's pulling out dishwashing powder, putting big packets of meat, putting it all on the floor. And then when I said,
a spot of shoplifting's always gone on. It's always been around. But it's now at such levels that the shops are just, they don't know what to do. I had a chat with the local Waitrose, someone who works there the other day, and they've been robbed 4 times in one day. Not just, a bit, but hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth, 4 times in one day. And the police haven't even come out. They don't come out.
Yeah.
So but that's here. That's in a little market town in Wiltshire.
Yes.
So the big cities, the big towns, that's got to be continual, non-stop. Well, these places ain't going to. In the end, what happens is they'll shut up shop because it's not worth their while opening, which is what you had in America. You got great swathes of America, whole cities where there's no shops because if you open a shop, it just gets robbed.
Yeah.
But that's what we've got to look forward to. Everything's getting worse.
What's the big named one over there?
Target.
Walmart, that's the one. And they're in these areas like the Bronx in New York and places in Chicago and different places, and they're very majority black neighborhoods. And they're standing outside complaining that the place is, how are they going to get their groceries because the place is closed up. They've shut up.
I wonder what.
Yeah, there's this thing about I didn't know about this thing called EBT. And I'm getting sent video after video after video. Yep, Steve Christ, EBT. And some African-American ladies are getting $4,000 a month on EBT on top of their welfare.
Yeah. Well, again, we've got a similar thing. I mean, America's just 5 years down the road from us. At the moment, we've got about 53% of the population is in receipt of benefits. Over half the population. Now, I'm not knocking people on benefits, especially when you realise that most of those people are working. They're working a full-time job and then have to claim benefits.
Yeah.
Because the job doesn't actually pay enough to live on.
Yes, I get that.
And you've got people on the left, like Gary Wass's toenails. I don't know. Just shouting that what you've got to do is, tax the billionaires, and it'll all be cool. It's nothing to do with taxation. It's nothing to do with taxation. What it is to do with is the system. The whole system is completely broke.
Yeah.
A free market economy working under a neoliberal system is never, ever, ever going to work.
Yeah.
Couple that and tie it to fiat currency that can just be printed by governments, which is what happened during COVID. And the cost of living crisis we're going through now is the result of that. It doesn't work. The system needs to change, not taxing people more, not taxing people less either. We need to get away and think of a whole new system because this one doesn't work. When you're in a situation where you work a full-time job, you work 40 hours a week, and you still haven't got enough to live on, that the government has to subsidize you, then something's gone drastically wrong.
Yeah.
Well, and all taxation does, if you tax the billionaires, all that means is that you can give more of that money in benefits to people who are working. And that's not an answer. You've got to get to a point where if you do a fair day's work or a fair week's work, you've got enough money to live on.
Yes.
It wasn't that long ago that a man could earn enough to buy a house, run a car, keep a wife, 3 kids. She didn't have to work.
And go on holiday once a year.
That really wasn't that long ago. That was like the 1960s, all the way through to the middle of the 70s. That's what we had.
Well, Bitnek talks about it, and he noticed the decline. He came back at the start of the year to visit his.
I like Bootneck, right? He's the kind of guy I could go down a pub with. But he's one step removed from a boomer. I know he'll hate me for saying it, because he takes in all this information and he gets to the point where he's like, yep, you're dead right. And then he completely resets the next day. and
Yeah.
he's a free market capitalist. Or he's like, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not a racist. And it's gone way beyond that. It's gone way beyond capitalism and just work hard and everything will be all right. No, it's not. People are working hard and they can't afford to fucking live.
Yeah.
And I realise that's not everyone, but when you've got over half of the population on benefits, it's not a benefit trap. Something's gone wrong. And as for the racism thing, he's wrong. He is racist. I don't know anybody who isn't at the end of the day. They might lie about it and they might try and, add a little bit of bravado on there. But deep down, it's inside everyone. Everyone knows that. In-group preference is absolutely normal. And if you tell me you haven't got an in-group preference, then there's something wrong with you.
I was just about to say the same words, in-group preference. But he was saying he flew back to visit his dad, and he hadn't been back in about 4 years. And the actual visible change in Middlesbrough, he says him and his wife walked down the main street and they were going to go into a pub or something and get a bite to eat or whatever they were doing. And he says he didn't see one white person on the whole street.
I can completely... I mean, that's normal nowadays. People say this all the time. I just went into town and I didn't see another white person. And then when I went to buy a cup of coffee, they tried to charge me £6. And
yes.
I popped into the shop and thought I'd buy some bread and butter to make a sandwich. The bread cost me £3, butter cost me £7, £10 to make a sandwich, and that's with nothing in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything over here is beyond a joke. It's like our energy is the highest in the world. But here's the thing: it's not going to get better. But people need to understand that, right? This is going to get worse. The demographics are not going to magically reverse. Reform, when they get in, and I dare say they're going to be getting in 29? They'll be voted in. I'm going to say that's a shoo-in, that they're going to be the next government.
Some of the experts say there will be calls for an early election, maybe in 28. So,
even if they did, going by the polls at the moment, Reform will get in. The problem with Reform is they're doing what every party does before an election, which is they're going to promise you the earth. And they're going to promise you the things that people are calling for. So they're going to say, we're going to deport all these people. We're going to start remigration. We're going to be tough on this. We're going to do that. And when they get into power, I can promise you, nothing will happen. And it won't happen because in order for it to happen, he's going to have to replace at least half of the civil service, at least half. And he can't do it. If he doesn't do that, it'll carry on the same. If he does do it, the country will grind to a halt.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening now has actually been put into law and legislation, which is in place, which he's not going to be able to break unless he scraps a lot of it. And Farage is a system man. He's of the system. He's for the system. He does not want to bring it down. And I'm afraid we're at the point where the whole rotten, corrupt mess needs to go. All of it. And if he's not going to do that, it will carry on exactly the same.
Well, what Britain needs, just in my opinion, is scrap all that green crap, bring back industry, start manufacturing again, start getting men back into work again, give them a bit of pride and decent wage that they can live on. We were talking about this the other night with a brother, and it was, he says, I remember when you were working in Korean, Stephen, he says, you had, before taxes, £750 a week. If I had done the bonus work stuff, on an average week, it was $478 a week after taxes. And he says, 30 years on, the boys in the ESL, the company I used to work to, he says, are still on $478 a week.
Yeah.
But the value of money halves every 10 years.
Yeah. But it's going faster than that. Prices in the stores have doubled over the last 2 years. Not 10, they've doubled over the last 2 years.
Yes.
Yet wages are stagnant. Energy prices have gone up by 300%. Your fuel is for your cars through the roof. Taxation on everything. I mean, everything that you can possibly think of is hundreds of times what it should be.
Yes.
But people need to think, okay, there's a lot of trust and hope being pinned on reform. And I understand why. I understand that the Overton window's gone way over to the right. If you spend any time on X or Twitter, whatever you want, you would think that you know we're saved, and we are far from saved. Yeah, and it's just the thing is, it's two different worlds: the online world and the real world. If you walk out and talk to people in the real world, which I'm lucky that I get to do every day. I talk to customers every day. I talk to other business owners every day. The things we discuss aren't even on their radar. They're not talking points for them.
Yeah.
The politics of this country will go on and on in the same direction. So you're looking at a digital ID, a digital currency within a decade.
That's what I was going. That's what I was going.
Yeah, and it's no point, you know, Ethel waving a yellow placard on a roundabout. I know people think they're doing a good thing, or signing a petition. You get 2-3 million people sign a petition, say they don't want it. The decision's already been made.
Yeah,
and not by individuals, but by giant conglomerates like BlackRock and Vanguard, like the WEF. Right, these people have already decided, and you, me, and everyone in this country is an insignificance to that decision. It makes no difference how hard we stamp our feet or shake our fist. They will do exactly what they've planned to do, to the point that this whole country is an insignificance. It's nothing to do with this country. It's a global sweep of the table. It's a global reset. And it doesn't really matter what you want. They're going to do it anyway. The demographic replacement is really to make their life easier. They understand that there is one group of people, right, who throughout history can throw a spanner in the works. And that is white Europeans.
Yes.
If they can disorganize, hold back, and reduce that group in number, it's better for them. Because no one else is going to do anything. No one else.
John Palmer sent me a video of a guy who was a top virologist during the pandemic stuff. And it's a really, really long video. But if you watch it to the end, he explains exactly what you've just said there in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In great detail.
Well, I watched a video the other night of Lawrence Fink, the CEO of Vanguard, talking about digital ID, digital currency, explaining that it's a done deal. I don't know, what can only be described as, it looks like something out of James Bond, this huge oval table with the CEO of MasterCard and the CEO of Vanguard and the CEO of these other multi-billion dollar corporations just sat around a table with 3D holographic images being projected behind them. And like I said, Ethel waving her yellow placard by the traffic lights isn't going to stop them.
Yeah,
well, they've invested hundreds of trillions into this project. Like, signatures on a petition aren't going to stop it.
Yeah.
Waving placards isn't going to stop it. Keir Starmer isn't going to stop it. Like when he was told, right, you introduce it this week, you'll get some pushback, don't worry about it. Within 3 or 4 years, we'll roll it out. He did exactly what he was told to do. You can't vote your way out of this. It's not a party political equation. The system needs to come down. And until we've got a political group that understands that, and that may well come after reform. I don't know. But reform's going to be the biggest wake-up call the right has come in. It's not going to be Keir Starmer and his wacky, loony, lefty ideas and throwing people in prison for tweeting. Reform's going to be the big wake-up because nothing will change. And they're supposed to be the guys on our side.
Well, I've been watching fellows talk about reform, and there's guys that say, no, sure, it's got full of Mohammedans, and it's full of this, and it's full of that, and there's Labour Party members in it, and there's ex-Tory members in it, and they got rid of one of the best guys that you could actually have, which was your man Rupert Lowe.
Rupert Lowe, yeah.
He said he didn't care if it took 10 flights a day. He'd be sending them all back. And he got sacked for saying that.
Yeah. I know. And like, you know, if you read what Rupert Lowe, which it's not Rupert Lowe on X, right? He's obviously got someone running his account. But he's obviously agreed these things can be said. It sounds great. The problem is, I think Rupert Lowe will end up merging with the Conservative Party. That's my bet. Because again, at the end of the day, I think he's a Tory. That's what he is, and he understands the demographics. But I think he's doing exactly the same as everybody else does before they get voted into power. Is they'll promise you the earth, then they'll ignore it, or they'll explain to you why that's difficult, or they'll explain to you that, okay, we can do it, but that means you're all going to have to pay, I don't know, another £100 a week in tax, and nobody's going to want to do that. No one wants their life to get harder. Our side is the only side that stands a chance, but we're not going to vote for someone to do that until after reform.
Yeah.
What you can do now is put yourself in a better position. And I mean that. Because things are going to get more violent. We're seeing this every single day. You get stabbed to death walking a dog. You get stabbed to death taking a train home in the evening. If you're female, it can be even worse. Yeah. You need community. So I would look for those groups that offer community building. Build up friendships in your area of people who are on the same page. Do things as a group, not individually. Start to collectivize. Everyone knows the organisation I started. We've got regional groups as well. Everybody knows about PA, right? Both of those organisations have got brilliant community groups building. Get involved, right? Sign up with both or one of them as soon as you can, right? And start mixing with the right people, because this is going to get worse.
Yes.
And as it gets worse, you're going to need the right people on your side.
Sign up here, folks. The link is in the chat. It's the Woodlander Initiative. I have the page all set to go there. So, no, there's a thing on the news today. White guy commits a crime, and he is named, described. His mother's bra size, his shoe size, and everything within 2 hours.
Yeah.
The train attack took them, what was it today, 14 or 15 hours to describe the.
Yeah, we know that. Right? I think even the general public understand it on some level. It just doesn't gel with the public. Right? It's not. It should be important, but it really isn't. If you go and talk to people tomorrow, what's important in their life, right? They're not going to tell you the mass stabbing on that train. They'll be talking about buying a kid's school uniforms. They'll be talking about, what they're going to do for Christmas. They'll be talking about how am I going to afford Christmas? That's important to people. Our political, social topics are things that listen, I've said this a million times before. There was no point me talking about parallel systems and parallel societies and what you can do and how you can do it. People nod their head. What has to be done is you have to actually do it. You got to get off your ass. You got to build it. You got to take people and show them this is it. This is how it works. When you do that, right, people will then become interested. What we've got to do, and I'm talking to the chat now, is you need to start acting like a community. You need to back each other up all the time. You need to meet IRL in real life. You've got to take this off of the internet and into real life.
Yeah.
You've got to help people start their own business. Then you've got to support them. And we're all guilty. We're all guilty of doing exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
Someone starts a business, we say, yeah, that's brilliant. Isn't it great? And then we go downtown and buy Yorkshire tea instead of Grandma Towlers.
This here was by design. Yes, this is really, really cool, and you can look up this and look up that and look up the other. But with one flick of the switch, they can turn this off.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have a landline here, so how do I communicate with people now? The post office is on its knees, and you wouldn't trust them to send anything. So,
Rags, you're hitting on stuff we've already had discussions about. Communications, how can we keep the lines of communication open? This is going to be important when that digital ID comes in. They've already said that one of the first things they'll bolt to it, is internet access. Yes. And the government in this country, not just the government, the system in this country, right, has already laid the legal framework, the paperwork, the laws, whatever you want to call it. They've already pushed that through already with the online harms bill and the online safety bill and the malicious communications articles and whatever. So, and if you don't play ball, they switch you off. So BitChute was said, no, you can't have access to our servers. So we don't get BitChute in the UK. They just, banned. They did it with Gab until Gab relented and gave them what they wanted. And they will do it to the individuals. So if you've got a digital ID, you'll need it to log on to the internet. And if you do anything out of line, they'll turn you off. You will not be able to get onto the internet. It'll be that simple. And I dare say there'll be workarounds and everything. But for most people, it will be that simple. Step out of line, you're banned.
What's that thing they have same in China?
Social credit system.
And they have gates. And if your social credit system score is low, you can't walk through that gate.
That's right. Everyone bangs on about how bad China is. But I can guarantee you this country will be worse. It'll be much worse than China. The people that run Whitehall, every law that came out of the European Parliament, was made 10 times worse by our bodies in Whitehall, who added another 3 pounds. One sec. Shush. So we'll end up with stricter rules, stricter laws. You won't be able to do anything. We've already got the more surveillance in the UK than any other country in the world. So that should tell you something of how it will go for us.
Yeah.
And you will be confined to your 15-minute neighborhood that will be mostly Somalian and Afghans. And if that's, if that's what you want and you're happy with it, sit tight, okay, and do nothing, because that's exactly what's on the way.
Yes. No, I've seen it because there was some boy filming around London, and it was during the time of the pandemic stuff, and it was to do with the tires, and it needs a direct
You still
signal.
there?
Yes, I'm still here. I'm still here. You're frozen. Hello?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, mate. You did for a bit. Yeah, I'm still here.
So, but everybody was in lockdown, but these boys were still up putting up these tires, 5G tires and stuff, while everybody else was locked down.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said there was an expert on YouTube. He said it needs a direct line of sight to the next tire, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, we've got them in the town here. We had 2 CCTV cameras, and then during lockdown they replaced that with 54. So 54 cameras, all with 5G aerials. And the thing with 5G is it's much stronger, much larger bandwidth, but it can't go very far. So they got to bounce it from one aerial to the next aerial to the next aerial, which is why they've all got aerials bolted to the beneath the cameras, which is handy, because if you take the aerials out, then you take the 5G out.
Yeah.
And you only need a few of those aerials missing, and they can't string.
Well, they were burning them down here.
Yeah.
Out around Belfast, they were.
Yeah, no, I mean, hats off to the Blade Runners and the people out there trying. The thing is, we all know, right? If we're honest, we know how it goes. They will just get smarter. They will get better. The technology's getting quicker and faster every day. We only have to look at AI. 3 years ago, we were all laughing at pictures of AI did. He's got 5 fingers and poking out his eyebrows, and it'll never be any good. And now you're hard pushed. If I show you some videos, you'd be hard pushed to tell me if it was AI or it was real. The person's not real. The background's not real. None of it's real. It's all AI generated, and it's nearly impossible to tell, right, without another computer to tell you that it's fake. It's stuff gets better.
Do you remember?
And they're going to use all of this technology to lock you down.
Yes. Do you remember Bob, the painter? Since you're into your art and tattoos.
Yeah.
We grew up with Bob on the telly. And, he's very
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. And he's very softly spoken and all. And somebody came up with one of him painting a German camp. And he's explaining putting a gun tire in here and this, that, and the other. And you would literally think, I put it up on YouTube and they haven't caught it on yet. And everybody's going,
No, it's terrifying. I don't like using it at all. But I check out how good it's got every now and then, and it's remarkable. I think Toffee on his stream last night said, at the end of the day, people will get sick of it though. They will yearn for authenticity, for something that's real, for a book that's been written by a human, by a song that hasn't been produced by AI. And it is amazing what they can do, but it's not real, and it's not us. And we should avoid it whenever we can.
Yes.
My issue isn't that it's there. My issue is that all of this technology is going to be used against us, not for us. They're not using it to grow more crops in the UK. They're shutting down our farming capabilities when we should be self-sufficient as an individual, as a community, and as a nation. They don't want us growing food. They don't want anyone to grow food. They want us totally reliant on a system that imports all of our food, imports all of our energy, that we don't manufacture anything. This country is really a financial hub. That's what it's been designated as. What most people are going to do for jobs in 5-10 years, it kind of baffles me. Manual work will be all that's available.
Here.
Learn a skill, learn a trade. Because everything else, even my even the solicitors, we got a legal team works for the Woodlander Initiative. Good group of solicitors. The head solicitor is a really switched on guy, and he said to me, we were having coffee, and he said, I give my profession 5 years.
Yeah.
My job, 5 years. He said, because as much as I can give you good legal advice and I understand what I'm doing, AI is nearly at the point now it can give you the same advice quicker, faster, more accurate, because it's got access to every single piece of information that would take me months to look up, and it can do it for free. And he understands that. So these jobs that aren't manual really are like on the chopping block over the next few years.
Yeah. I've said this a couple of times. There's a few, 1984 was a novel, not a manual. Demolition Man was a movie, not a documentary. But
yeah, it's all heading that way, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the way it seems to be turning out. And
the remarkable thing is, okay, there's people in the Woodlander Initiative. I mean, I'm off grid, but there's people much more off grid than me already, right? And they're living really, really cool lives. Husbands, wives, kids. They grow, 95% of all their own food. They don't work, or they only work 1 day a week, right? And that's just to find money to put in the diesel tank of their car. Yeah. The lifestyle, right, is going to be a big change for some people, and I mean that honestly, because rapidly, I think you've got 4 years. You've got 4 years to get your shit in order, and if you haven't, in 5 years' time, you're going to be part of the system. You would have accepted everything. You would have accepted the digital ID. You will accept and be using digital currency. You will be restricted in where you can go and when you can go there. And you will start to justify it. Yes. You'll start to say, well, it isn't that bad anyway, is it? It'll be like saying, I'll never wear that mask on my face. And then someone says, well, you can't go and see your favourite film in the cinema unless you're wearing your mask. And you put it on and you say, well, it's not that bad wearing a mask, is it really? That's what people would do. And I saw them do it during COVID. I saw people take injections just so they could go on holiday. I saw people have their kids injected with that shit, right, just so they could go on holiday. And then they justify it afterwards. After 6 months of saying, I would never do it, I'd never take it, it hasn't been tested, it's probably poison. Yeah, but we want to go on holiday. And people will do the same this time. If in 5 years you're still in this system, I don't think you're going to be able to get out.
Yeah,
I just don't. Well, I think you'll start justifying it, and that's where you'll be. And it's a horrible thought. It's a horrible thought. I've been saying it for 2 years. 80% of people on our side will end up taking it all.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned it. If you refuse this digital ID thing, if you go for a certain, say you're going somewhere, they're going to charge you something like 85 quid because you don't have your digital ID with you.
That's, I mean, what he said in that very brief interview was that actually, if you were going to buying a house and you need to prove your ID with digital ID, it's quick, it's easy, it's free. If you need to do it another way, they can charge you. There are companies that will charge you 80, 90 pound, right, for a proof of ID. There's companies out there do that now. That's what he was talking about. But people will be bought off with comfort and convenience, Rags.
Yeah.
People will be bought with that. They will be bought with, well, it is easier. Well, it is, it's quicker. Well, it's going to cost me a bit more if I do it the other way. And that's the way life goes. I get it. I understand it. I really do. I completely understand it. And I don't want to terrify people with that digital ID thing, because here's the truth. When it first comes out, it will be in many different forms. And it's not a bad thing. Take it. Use it. It's when they start to bolt things onto it If you haven't got it, you can't use the internet. I'll get it
Yeah.
to use the internet. Okay. When they start to bolt things onto it, where's your line in the sand? Because what they will also, with everything they give you, they will give you a restriction as well.
Yes.
For every carrot, there'll be a big stick.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to have a line in the sand. If you haven't, right, you will go along with all of it. Where's your line? And then but here's the thing. I don't mind people saying, I'm going to get a digital ID. I'm going to use it until it becomes restrictive. When they start restricting things, I'm going to put it down because you can. You can just say, well, I've had enough. I've had enough. I'll put it down and I'll walk away. But where are you going to walk away to? Because what will happen is they'll say you can't have your pension unless you've got a digital ID. You can't have your benefits unless you've got a digital ID. And you'll understand this, Rags. You'll be on disability benefits, yeah?
Yeah.
If they say to you, next week, everyone on benefits is going to be allocated their digital ID, you will need to input that to receive your benefits. If you say, I'm not having it, and they say, that's absolutely fine, you don't get any benefits, though.
Yeah.
You're fucked, aren't you? Let's be honest.
I've been jumping through hoops for the last 2 weeks because I've been swapped over from ESA to this new, what's it called?
Universal credit.
Universal credit, that's the one. And I had to produce a birth certificate, driver's license, passport, bank statements, whole pile of other stuff, just for this.
But be honest, right? If they say to you, all of your money stops unless you've got a digital ID number, what are you going to do? You're going to say, well, I have to have a digital ID number then. Because what are you going to do with no money? You're just going to die.
Yes.
So I get it. Yes, they'll kick you out your house because your rent's not paid. You won't be able to eat because you can't buy food. You can't heat the place because you've got no money to pay for the bills. They'll leave people with no choice. What I'm saying is you've got 4 years now to put other things in place so that at any point in that time, you can say, fuck this. I don't need it. I do not need it because I've got something else lined up.
Yes.
But if you're not lining anything else up, you're going to have to go along with it. Now, some people will go along with it, but a lot of people will be looking at what can I set up now over the next 4 years, right, so that I don't need this. So, and I tell you what you need. I can even tell you what you need. You need shelter, food, water, community. That's it. That's all you need to live. Other people around you, food, water, and shelter. That's what you need. Now, there are other things that would be nice, like chocolate biscuits and the occasional T-bone steak that might not be in your remit. So we've got to look at ways where we can generate income from outside of the system. But unless you're involved with groups like ours, it's going to be really difficult for you to do any of that on your own.
Yes.
But as a group, as a community, we can now start talking about, okay, how many people can we get in one place? How many can we get in another place? What can we do about food? What can we do about shelter? What can we do about water? And how can we start generating income in our group, right, from outside of the system? The other thing that was really important for me was healthcare.
Yes.
So the minute he came out and said, we're going to roll out the digital ID, I started making phone calls, and our chat on Telegram was full of it as well. And I said, we need to nail down medical experts. And I'm not talking about us being trained, but we need doctors, we need nurses, we need emergency people, we need surgeons who are willing to operate outside of the system. Now, we've got a database now of doctors, nurses, midwives, surgeons, dentists, all of whom operate outside of the system.
Yes.
So But this stuff takes time, right? And
Organizing.
it takes time and organisation and energy. But we're heading in the right direction. We're heading in the direction where we've actually building a society that can offer you everything that you've got now. Because that's where we need to get to. We need to get to a point where we can offer the same as what you've got now. And we're going to have to fine tweak it, and it might not be as good to start with, but we've got to start. We've got to start. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck in that system. We could be stuck in a multicultural hellhole where we're locked down into 15-minute areas with a digital ID, a digital currency, where they're telling you what you can spend your money on, where you can spend it on, who you can mix with, where you can go. And I can't live like that.
Yeah. Well, we looked into this a few years back, and there's this thing, a lot of the water board here owns vast amounts of land around Northern Ireland, and you can have 100-year lease on that land. You can lease that land for 100 years, but I think it's 100 quid or something for the lease for 100 years, but you can't build any permanent structure on it. So you could build something.
There's ways around everything, Max. Now, yes. I'm hopefully coming over to Ireland in the summer. Is it Sligo or Sligo? I think. Yeah. Hopefully, and if I am, we'll be setting up a group over there as well. It's important that we get it everywhere. It's important that it grows. It's important that we get more people to join. It's important that we buy more land. It's important that we tie in with other groups as well. I got slated a bit for tying in with certain groups like PA. The bigger the community, right, the bigger the skill base. And we need as many people in as many different areas, right? And all these people are on the same page. So as much as we're not affiliated with any group, right, we're not part of any group, I'm willing to talk to, sit down and see where we have common ground with just about everyone. Because we're going to need it moving forward.
Yeah.
This isn't going to get better, right? And I'm pretty much sick to the back teeth of, people thinking it's, it'll be right. We'll just get rid of a few Muslims and then it'll be fine. No, it won't. Right? We're talking millions of people have to go, right? Not just Muslims, not just Islamists, not just criminals, right? There must be 5 million Africans just taking care jobs in the last 4 years. Right? It doesn't work. These people do not act like us. They do not like us. They destroy the infrastructure of the country. They have no idea of our heritage. They have no idea of our traditions. They would be much happier in the long run living in their own country, because long-term being over here is not a good idea.
Yeah. Well, there was Gavin Bobby. He came out during the pandemic stuff, and they nicknamed him the Mosque Buster, and he's is a barrister or a solicitor. Something.
Gavin Bobby?
Yeah, Gavin Bobby.
I've spoken with Gavin. I did a long stream with him. Great bloke, actually. I flip between the destruction of this country being a long, drawn-out process to it erupting and exploding overnight, which is what Gavin thinks will happen. What he tends to think will happen is the country will run out of money and the welfare checks will stop. And there's a small minority of people in this country that the minute that check doesn't hit the doormat will completely chimp out and burn every city down to the ground. And I think he's right, but I don't think they'll put themselves in that position. I just think the benefit checks will carry on rolling.
Which is just about to happen in America this month. The EBT check.
Yeah, I mean, what do they're cutting back on food stamps, aren't they?
They're cutting back on the food stamps, and you've got these African ladies on on TikTok and all going, "You ain't going to take my food stamp. You ain't take my food stamp. I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to fill myself 2 trolleys, and we're going to walk out with it for free. Yeah, and if you touch me, man, I'm going to." And you're like, Jesus, web time.
Yeah. I mean, it would happen over here, but the thing is, it's not going to get to that state where the whole of the country disintegrates because of it. The government had enough pushback from its own politicians when it tried to cut back a bit on benefits to sick pay and disabled. There's no way it's cutting benefits full stop. It knows it can't do that. So I tend to think it will just be a really long, really drawn out process where the country gets worse and worse and worse. And I can't stick in that. So I need something else, right? And build something better, because what's coming is a fucking nightmare.
But what we had, you're what, same age as me?
106 at the moment, Rags. I am
54. I'm 54.
I'm older than that.
I can remember a time when my grandfather and his brother got a pig off a farmer for payment, because my grandfather was a bread man, and he had an old World War II Luger, and the two of them stood in the garage on a concrete floor and shot the pig down through the head. And the bullet ricocheted and went straight up through the pig again and straight out through the ceiling. Pair of fucking nutters they were. But the great uncle, he was a great butcher, and he hung it by the legs and rendered it, and my grandfather kept it in the big deep freeze, and we were standing there like Wendy Miller, 9 or 10 years old, in this white room that my grandfather had at the back of the house. The grinder and the pork chops came off it, and this was rendered off it, and that was rendered off it, and all the other stuff went to the dogs.
Yeah.
One of the cousins, he was a
mate. Do you know what? We're going to get back to that. We're going to get back to rearing your own livestock. Having a butcher in your own community, having a farmer in your own community. Not everyone's cut out for growing vegetables and whatever, but that's fine. You might be a really good electrician. Then you're going to be doing the electrics for people, but your carrots and your pork chops are coming from people in that community as well. It's about working together. It's about working smart. It's about everybody doing their bit and pulling their weight, because there's jobs for everyone.
The Woodlander Initiative there's a list of jobs or skills the Woodlander Initiative requires, and you don't have engineer on it.
No, well, I'll tell you, the whole website's changing, but there's going to be places on there for people to offer their services as well, all different services. The thing is, people say to me, "Oh, I'm not self-employed, so I haven't got any skills." So I'm like, "Well, what do you do for a living?" "Well, I'm a plumber." There's a fucking skill. You're a plumber. Like, you might not have your own business, but it doesn't mean you don't know how to put a tap on, right? And if someone needs a tap putting on, you might be able to do them a favour and earn 20 quid for yourself. So there's, things we need to be doing. My biggest bugbear, right, and it is with nationalists, is we know this, okay? Me and Toffee have spoken about this, right? We should be encouraging people to start their own businesses, but you've got to support them.
Yes.
When they do, that means you might have to pay slightly more, right, for your tea and coffee. It means you might have to pay slightly more for your plumber. Mm-hmm. But there's no point saying, 20 quid for having me tap put on. Come on, the colour bloke down the road said he'll do it for a tenner. We've got to get away from that, right? No other community acts like that. If you ever look what happens in the Asian community, they work together, they pool their money, they employ one another, they buy their own products, right? They act as a community. We, on the other hand, act like individuals every single time. What's in it for me? What's best for me? And screw everyone else. And it's time that stopped.
That's been indoctrinated into us, because
I know that.
when we were kids, it was all about community. It still is to
Yeah.
a certain extent here. It's a great community, Northern Ireland. And the Republic of Ireland, they're suffering. They're about, what did your man's computing forever say? He looked into the figures, and they're less than 75% of their own population now. The native Irish are 4 million people, but the population of the Republic of Ireland is 5.5 million.
Yeah, it's the island's only small, man. It won't take much to tip it over the edge. It all starts with community, Rags, right? It starts with coming together. And it can start online, but you need to take it out into the real world. You need to meet up with people. You need to get them to come around your house and have a coffee if you can't get out to a pub, right? But you need to be meeting in real life. You need to do it regularly, right? It's no point just doing it once and then 6 months later you haven't seen anyone. You need to say, right, once a month. Last Sunday of every month, we'll go out, we'll have a Sunday dinner, we'll have a pint and we'll have a chat. And if anyone needs any help, we're all there to help. And if not, we can start to talk about how we move forward as a community. And you build that community. And as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, you can do more and more things. It's the only way we're going to survive this is to act like a community, act as a collective, not as a group of individuals who are only bothered about themselves.
Yeah. Well, there was, it was a couple of years back, Simon Sideways, and everybody sort of refers to him as a Seven-Nat in bits and pieces. But there was an
He's still a Seven-Nat.
Yeah, there's a
He's
veteran.
still a Seven-Nat. Look, civic nationalism had its day. It was silly then, and now it's not silly. It's fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? In a minute, those people are just going to drag everyone else down with them because they think they're reasonable. They're not reasonable. Right? What they're doing is acting as individuals. They don't want to say scary things because they think they'll get in trouble. I get it. I understand it. Right? I've got my own business. I've had my name plastered in the papers. I've had it all over the internet. I've been called every name under the sun. Does it have an impact? Yes, it does. Yeah, it really does. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It really doesn't. I'm getting fed up with it, to be honest.
The point I was going to make was there was a veteran, and he was living in a flat, and he was basically living in squalor, and he put out an appeal to all his YouTube followers, and they came together, went into this man's flat, stripped it out, deloused it, defleed it, and did everything else. And it was what do you call that other guy? We've got a problem. Built him a computer, guitar, and set him up with his own full system thing. And that was us people. They looked at you and me coming together to help.
Yeah. It's cool, and we've got to do that all the time, like all of the time. Someone needs help them out, right? And don't expect anything in return.
Yeah.
More than anything, right? If I can get through to the chat, right? Online's fine. I love all this, right? And I'm usually floating around. But better than any of this is meeting people in real life, sitting down, having a real conversation, like sharing a beer, sharing a coffee, sharing a story. It doesn't have to be politics, right? It can just be helping someone out. Right? It can be just listening to jokes. It doesn't matter. It's making it real. Authenticity, again, right? Everything's done on screens these days.
Yeah.
Some people are going to have a nervous fucking breakdown when they do turn it off because they won't know what to do. Get out in the real world.
You used to be a publican, didn't you? You owned a pub.
I didn't hear that, mate. Sorry, you're roboting a bit.
You owned a pub. You owned a pub or ran a pub.
Yeah. I had a couple of pubs.
The door story.
Yeah, couple.
The missing door story.
Yeah, I know. It's a
classic.
I have got a door story. It's Sensum's favourite story.
Yeah.
I chucked the bloke out. He came back, tried to kick his way in.
Yeah.
I bolted the door. The police arrested him half hour later up the road. He'd thrown a brick through a mosque. But they had him on CCTV kicking the pub door. Anyway, he ended up in court. They fined him, and they said he had to pay for a new pub door. I didn't press charges. I didn't have anything to do with it. But anyway, this check turns up, and I did buy a new door. I put it on, and he came in, and he said, I'm not very happy about buying that door. And I said, well, maybe you shouldn't have kicked it, but have your beer. Let's have no trouble. And it's, let bygones be bygones. And I carried on serving till about 3 in the morning, which was usual, but out in the back room. And as I was ushering the gents out, come on, gents, time to go home, 3 o'clock in the morning. I went to close the door, and the fucker had been back and actually unscrewed it and nicked the door.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean these things happen, don't they?
Where I'm at now, this new bungalow that I'm in, I can go to the end of the road in the wheelchair and go down the street about 20 feet, and there's a wee pub on the corner. And I haven't been into a pub in years. And next minute, somebody's opening the door for you and saying, "Do you need a hand to get in?" I said, "If you wouldn't mind," and push me in because there's a bit of a lip and a bit of a step and stuff. And I used to love the pub atmosphere, but according to what's that guy's name? He's always on GB News. He's a bit of a boxer, and
God knows, mate, I don't watch telly.
He's a publican and stuff. He runs his own bar. He was saying that in England at the minute, England and Wales, there are 50 pubs a week closing.
Yeah. But pubs only make their money now on food. Gone are the days of your little local. You go in and that front bars where the youngsters were having a game of pool and the jukebox going and a little bit rowdy, and out in the back bar would be the older guys, and they'd be playing shove me and darts and everyone drinking. And the only food you got was a cheese and onion roll and a packet of pork scratchings.
Yeah.
It's now. It's not. It's all food orientated. It's not loud. You can't smoke in a pub anymore. I should give up, but tonight's my night doing your stream, so I'm smoking. It's pubs aren't pubs anymore, and it's a shame. And it's not just that either, is it? Let's be honest. If I go out now, if I take my missus out for a night, it's 150 quid.
Yeah.
For one night out. Yeah. And that's not eating, that's just drinks. It's £5-6 a pint. Shorts are about the same. It's, I don't know, I used to go out on 10 quid. Do you know what I mean? I'll go out on a tenner and have a bag of chips on the way home. But now what's that, 2 pints?
Yeah, it's not even 2 pints now.
No, not even 2.
We're up in Korean there, the Lodge Hotel is advertising for the Christmas dinner this year. It's a full, so many course Christmas dinner, not including your drinks. On Christmas Day, £385 per head. £385 per head.
It's madness, isn't it? It's madness. I know I live in like 1979 in my head with the prices. My missus is always telling me, what fucking year you living in? But things just, I'm gobsmacked every time I have to buy anything. Or pay anything. It's a nightmare. The way out of it, I don't know. The way out of it is to be self-sufficient, isn't it? It's to grow your own food. It's to rear your own livestock. It's to not have any electricity bill. It's to have no rent, no mortgage. And I'm lucky in that respect. We just need to get it bigger. We need more people doing it. And we've got people doing it, which is the great thing. We've got people making that transition. And they're going to have a better life. They really are. And the more people we can get into that, the better. And for those that don't want to move out of towns and that, we've got to look at how we can help them as well. And that might be providing food and anything else we can help with. I just hope people realise that one, reform are not going to be the answer, that nothing's going to change. They're going to find out themselves rapidly the minute they get in. I can't believe for 1 minute. Farage isn't stupid, right? He's been in the game for decades. He knows exactly what's going on.
30 years he's been in it. No.
And he understands, right, that you can't just... Brexit was a prime example, okay? It's a prime example. And there's no point saying we didn't get the Brexit we wanted or whatever. We got Brexit, okay? We're not part of the European Union. What actually changed for the man in the street? Apart from he got flooded with, instead of European immigrants, which I've got to be honest with you, I'd rather have 1,000 Poles, right, than 10 Afghans.
Yes.
Apart from that, what actually changed? Nothing. Nothing changed. The prices in the shops all went up through the roof. Your government didn't change. Your community didn't change. Your Netflix subscription didn't change. The fact that you go to McDonald's didn't change. Nothing changed, right? And Brexit was the biggest, hoo-ha for about 4 years. And do you know what it changed? Nothing. Nothing at all.
Absolutely fuck all. And it took them 10 years to implement it.
10 years to implement it, and for what? And they're still moaning about it now, right? They're still moaning about it. The only reason they moan about it is like because the white working class actually won, right? But what did we win? Nothing. We didn't win anything. This is what will happen when reform get in. People will be having parties in the street. We've smashed the two-party system, which is a great thing.
Yes.
And then Farage will do exactly the same as what's going on now. He might stop one or two things. He might do a Trump. He might have some people rounding up some illegals, and he'll make a big show of, stopping a boat or deporting 50 or 100 people, and people will applaud him, and it's nothing. It's nothing compared to the millions that are still coming in.
Yep.
And still will. They still will.
I was on X, and somebody had sent me a thing, and it was foreign-born nationals living in Britain on benefits. 1.6 million.
Yeah, there's more than that.
So
all these figures are bollocks. Honestly,
I tagged your man Patrick Christie onto the actual article. So I don't think Patrick Christie done the research on it. He probably has a research team on it, and it turns out it's not 1.6 million. It's more like 3 million.
Yeah, 3 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rags, it's nuts. It's insane. But here's the thing. We say it's nuts, it's insane, it can't continue. Well, it has continued for the last 10 years.
Yes.
In fact, since 1997, when Blair got in,
yes.
Right, it's got progressively worse. Right? How many years has it been going on? And from day one, people were saying, well, this can't continue. Well, it has. Yeah. And 10 years later, this can't continue. Well, it did. And now we're saying, well, this is absolutely insane. People are being murdered in the street on a daily basis. This can't continue. Guess what? It will. It will just get worse.
Yeah. As we talk about the train thing there, was it last night or?
Yeah, last night.
Early hours or something. And see, within 2 days, that'll be all forgotten about.
Yeah.
And then next week, something
but
else.
But they've still said nothing about that poor guy the
bin worker fella.
Yeah, just stabbed to death, man, just walking his dog. And they didn't even acknowledge it. Like it never even happened. Don't worry about it.
Keir Starmer was given a press conference, and he never mentioned it once.
Mm-mm. It's not important. It's not important.
And I'm screaming at the telly. Well, I'm not screaming at the telly because I was watching it on my phone, and I'm going, how many more have to be unalived?
Right, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. And people get to the point, right, where they're like, well, if it continues, the whole country's going to explode. It's not going to explode. It really isn't. They slaughtered all those kids in Southport right, in the dance school.
Yeah.
That fucking insane rhubarb Rubik's Cube, whatever his fucking name is.
Cabana.
Right?
Rubik Cabana.
And yeah, there's some protests. There were some protests. And some protesters were arrested and thrown in jail. And guess what? Nothing changed.
Jeez.
Still millions of them coming in every day. Still people being stabbed in the street. Still nothing's changed.
Yep.
The country hasn't exploded. And in the morning, we'll all get up and we'll go to work, right? And we're still in it.
Yeah.
My answer to every single person who says, well, what do we do? We've got 4 years to build something better.
Yes.
Whoever's helping do that, right, is on the right track. Whichever organisation you get involved with, make sure they're building community, make sure it's in real life, make sure you got people around you can talk to on a regular basis. Because when the comms go down, which will be the internet, and you've got a choice to make, which is, do I stay in this thing and just give up, or do I stay a free man or a free woman? When you have to make that choice, you're going to need people around you, you're going to need organisations around you, and you're going to need people who know what they're doing. Right? We've got 4 years left. That's it.
Yeah.
To put it in place.
It was Laura Tyler and PA that said we were going to be some professor, university professor, said we'd be a minority by 2066 or something.
Yeah, way before that. 2050.
At the rate
2050 will be a minority.
At the rate
if you look at the live births, we're only 51% at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, right, we'll be a minority on births.
Mm-hmm.
So it only takes a generation. It takes one generation. When those kids are 18, 19 years old, that's it. We're a minority. And that starts next year.
There's one county in the Republic of Ireland, and I can't mind which one it is, but the most popular boy's name was, guess what?
Mohammed.
Bang.
It's been the most popular boy's name in England for 4 years, I think. It's look, we know the problem. We know the problem. There is an answer. I mean, people like Steve Laws have been banging on about remigration, right? The issue is Labour aren't going to remigrate anyone, okay? The Tories aren't going to remigrate anyone. Reform isn't going to remigrate anyone. Right? They're not going to send millions of people back, and unless they do, it carries on the same.
Yes.
And if you don't want to be in that system where it's carrying on the same, where you get stabbed walking your dog, right, where you can't afford a tub of butter, where you'll get paid a universal basic income of whatever many shekels they throw down from the table for you. If you don't want that, you're going to have to join up with a group that's building something. And the remarkable thing is, we've got loads and loads of organisations, loads of institutions, loads of structure already in place. We've got things like doctors and nurses. We've got publishing houses. We've got artists. We've got all of these other groups which are bubbling around. It's just bringing them all together, right? But the basics is where we get involved, which is shelter, food, water, and other people, community. Once you've got that, you can start adding on all the rest.
Remember the last time we done a stream together, you had bids in on different land.
Yeah, we also then, since then, we had quite a lot of press coverage. So we had coverage in the Daily Mail, the Star, the Guardian, the Times, the Sunday Times, I think the Observer, something else, which put the kibosh on a couple. But we have circumnavigated a few obstacles and just purchased a third plot. So now we know how to do it. The fourth one won't be too long. But it took a while. It took a while because what happened is when all of that media hit, two of the people that we were buying from withdrew and just shut the sale down, which was a shame. One of them was the day before the money exchanged. And give them their due. I understand why they did it. So their argument is, look, we've got a lot of land to sell and we've got land around the bit you're buying. And no one's going to want to buy it if you're building some neo-Nazi training camp. And as much as we showed them that we weren't, that's what the media said. And that's what other people looking to buy land would have seen, right, is that media. So I get why they pulled out. So we've had to use the same tricks as the trade that big business use, but it's working. And we've just bought the third plot, which is nice. And I'm not going to tell anyone where it is right now, apart from it's in the southeast. But as soon as that's absolutely nailed down, which should be a week, that'd be good. That'd be nice. And because we now know how to do it, we can do it again on the fourth and fifth plots.
As I said previously in the chat as we're streaming, there's a thing called, as I say, the land's owned by the water board, and you can lease it for them from 100-year lease.
Yeah.
In the north here, I'm not too sure about the Republic of Ireland, but you can do it here in the north. That might be a way for the initiative to go, if you want to.
Yeah, definitely. Well, once I get over there, I can start talking to some people. I know that one of the chaps over there has got a lot of land, so that might be an in. Because we don't need much to start. What we need to do more than anything is get little areas up and running, right, with structures on the land, with crops being grown, with livestock being grown, and with members being able to use that land as well. Okay, and once we do that, right, people can see that it works. Now, anyone who's been over to the Wales plot, right, gets really excited and really fired up, right? One that everyone enjoys chipping in and helping. Like, we had to take a barn down. We took the barn down, moved all the wood, moved all the structures, recycled the whole thing. When we were building the toilet block and stuff like that, people just want to help, relaying trackway and roads so we can get the cars in. It's good. And then in the evening, we all sit around a big campfire. We, talk to each other. We talk about how we want to move forward, how we want to live, what it should be like.
Well, I've watched some of the videos, basically all of the stuff that you post, and everybody posts, and they're sitting around campfires and they're playing guitar and they're just having a jolly.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's how we should be living. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? This is nice, right? But it'd be even better if all of your chat and me and you were sat on a chair around a campfire, having a laugh, sharing a can of beer, right, and talking about what we're going to do in the morning and how we're going to do something proactive and living a proper life, right, without being stabbed to death, right, without paying £9 for a tub of butter, right, because we're making our own. It's getting back to basics, right? It's doing things that are authentic. It's living real life. It's about being free. Be free, man. Choose freedom, not prison.
The way you come across there, you think it was some sort of 1960s hippie commune, but it's not actually.
No.
That's the way we used to live in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, you said it just 10 minutes ago, like with your dad and his brother out in a thing. You kill a pig, you eat, you got bacon and pork chops for the next 3 months.
Yeah,
people have been kind of bought off with luxury. Everything
convenience
grows on supermarket shelves. It doesn't, and it doesn't mean everybody has to get involved in growing or rearing livestock or killing animals. But we understand that some of us will. Some of us are going to have to, right? And if that's not your cup of tea, then we'll find something that is, right? But everyone's got a job to do. right? And everyone's going to have to pull their weight. And we
We
got to
were-
work together. We got to work together to make something better. The
We
thing
were
is, right, we're Europeans, right?
Yes.
There is nothing we can't do. There's nothing we can't do.
Mhm.
If we want to build it, we'll build it, right? And when we build it, it'll be much better than the shit show they're going to offer us. Because we're better.
No, because when I grew up, I remember Granda teaching us how to neck a chicken
Yeah,
at 8
yeah.
years at 8 years old. And you hold it under your arm, Stephen, and what you do is you do this here and you go, and that's it. All over with. And then I went to Granny, and Granny, she plucked it, gutted it, rendered it, and stuff. And there was dinner. You know?
Yeah.
Um,
Good days, my
then,
friend. And, look, getting back to a high trust society is what we're all after.
Yes.
And I've heard the comments already. There's lots of women involved in the Woodlander initiative. There's lots of mothers involved. And one of them said, I've been down here for 4 or 5 days, and I've gone to bed probably 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, every night, because I'm knackered. And I've left my daughter, who's 13, out playing with the other kids until probably 1 o'clock in the morning, like when she goes to bed. And I feel safe doing that. And that's something I could never, ever do at home. Now, just for that, it's worth doing. Just for that comment. I've had other people say, I put my mobile phone down, I went off, I forgot I put it down, I drove into town, I've come back and it's not moved.
Yeah. Well,
you can't do
over
that
here,
in town.
over here, especially where I'm at, it was high trust. Always high trust society. You could leave your front door open. And when I was growing up as a child, you ran in through somebody's front door and it says, Mrs. Hample, is Peter coming out to play?
Yeah,
At 8 o'clock in the morning.
Dangerfield's Old
Yeah.
England video. Well, it's we all remember it. I
Yeah.
knew all the kids down my road. I would run into those houses, get a ginger nut biscuit and a orange squash in a plastic beaker, wait for him to get dressed, and then we'd be out grabbing the other kids and then building dens in the wood until 5 o'clock, and then we all had to go home. Right? No supervision.
Yes.
Now, kids and the parents, and rightly so, I've got to say, a lot of the time, rightly so, are too scared to let their kids out.
Yeah.
Would you let your daughter out if you lived in Rotherham?
Nope.
Or Oxford or London? No, you wouldn't. Would you let your son out at 6 years old? No, not a chance.
The old place that I was in is all older Ballymoney folk. The new place that I'm in, just down below the police station, there are houses of multiple occupancy. And there are big, large Jamaican fellas. And the friend that works in the police station down there, she's going 2 to 3 times a day, Stephen, we're called down there. And she says, we're getting fed up with it. But we can't report on it. And you not see it on the news. And I have a security camera, which is motion censored. So if anybody comes near the house, because I was sitting in here one evening watching a movie, and it was just during the summer months, and I had the blinds sort of slightly open, and I could see this silhouette. So I went and opened the blinds, and there's a large African man, about 6'5", just staring in through my front window. So on the phone to the mate, electrician fella, I says, you know that security camera you have outside your house? I says, can you fit one of them for me? And he went, not a problem, Steve. He was round the next day and fitted it for me. And I says, how much do you owe you for that? And he says, the amount of times you've helped me out fixing motorbikes, Steve, it's on the house, mate. And that's that high trust society.
It's nice that you've got mates like that, right? And sad, right, that you have to fit it.
Yes.
That you have to have a camera fitted because your neighbourhood in Ireland is now slowly going to get taken over by large Africans looking through your front window.
Yes.
Look, someone said to me the other night, what's the answer? I said, the answer is separation first, because this isn't going to be a quick thing. We need to separate, and then we need to remigrate. They need to go back, right? So it's separation and remigration. The remigration is going to come way after reform. Right? Reform aren't going to do it, so we need to get someone else in after reform, and I think that's possible. I think that's going to be the eye opener for a lot of those civ lads who suddenly realise that, okay, we've got a civic nationalist party in, and nothing's changed. You're going to need something radical. Radical problems need radical solutions.
Yeah, and there's videos coming up from Ireland there, and there's a single mother of 2 kids, and she lives on it's like a wee village street in Ireland. And when you get to, I don't know if you've ever been to the Republic of Ireland or not, there's loads of wee villages, and they have a pub, they have a wee shop, and they have a chapel, and like a wee street, and they've flooded the place with all these different types of people. And there's a guy standing there in a pair of jogging bottoms, staring in through her window. So she gets the phone out and starts recording, and he is basically pulling his old pudding. Yeah,
mate. I don't like hearing about it. I don't like seeing the videos. It's not good. It's not good anywhere, is it? Well, yeah. The only saving grace is that there are people out there doing something about it, right?
Yeah.
If you can't stop them moving into your street, right, then we need a different street that you can stop them.
Yes.
It's that simple. So we need to buy our own land, we need to build our own streets, and we need to be in charge of who comes in and who doesn't. It's that simple. And hopefully, we're looking at nearly 10 years before reform are voted out and something else is voted in. So we've got a decade of this bollocks, and I don't think it will go a decade.
Yeah. Well, there is a couple of guys that have literally said that reform is a stepping stone. And I get that point. And somebody had said about people that were into the likes of the PA movement and stuff. Aren't well known should then start standing for reform.
Look, infiltration of reform has happened. There are guys in there, which is fantastic, and that might be able to drag the grassroots membership further to our way of thinking. But Farage isn't our guy at all, and the problem is that pie is Farage, right? It's nothing else. And what he says goes. And I can tell you for now, Farage is a system guy. He doesn't want to bring this system down. He wants to play in it. If anything, what will happen is it will become much, much more Zionist-based, because he's so tied in with America, he's so tied in with Trump, that you'll find that he'll privatize the NHS. It's not necessarily a bad thing if it's done correctly. That will go to American company. There'll be a lot of American business over here. And that's where his focus will be, on finance, right?
Yeah.
Not on demographics.
Yeah.
He was quite honest in a couple of interviews, and he said, there's nothing I can do. I'm not going to deport people. What he's saying now is just to get people on board, right? People like Steve Laws have moved the discussion so far the other way, right, that he's safe to say what he's saying now. But that doesn't mean he means it. He doesn't mean it at all. He's not going to deport millions of people. He might get rid of a few criminals, stop a few boats. Yeah. But apart from that, we're still going to be inundated with immigration. No one's going to be going back. And he'll concentrate on finance, which is what they all do. And that's not going to be good enough for us. We got to build something better. I'm sick of saying.
Ireland were delighted when the Americans came, and they took 600 jobs from Ballymoney here and they moved them across to Donegal. Tyco Healthcare, American company, because their tax rate, business tax rate, is 11%, I think, and ours is 25.
Yeah, but this is exactly what politics is, Rags. That's politics, right? Is where's the lowest tax rate? How can we put tax up? How can we lower tax? No one on the street really gives a monkeys. No one likes being taxed. I get that, all right? But that's not what's affecting people, right? People don't want their government to do that. The people want their government to say, you're safe, right? You can walk your dog without being stabbed, right? You can go into a shop and understand who's talking in there. You won't be raped walking through the park at night. These are quite important things that seem to be forgotten and put on the back burner because we've got to handle GDP. It's a nightmare, mate.
Yeah.
Rags, I'm going to have to go in a minute, my friend. I told the missus an hour.
Yeah. I would quite happily done that. But on my last point,
I would happily do another hour as well, mate. But I am going to have to go because there's food to be cooked.
There is Google opened a massive centre in Dublin, and everybody thought this was going to be great for the Irish people, and they're all going to get jobs. The only people that work for Google in Dublin who are actually native Irish are the cleaners.
Yeah, no, I can well believe it, mate. And pretty soon it'll just be AI and robots. Yeah. Okay, it's look, everyone knows the organisation I started. The website we're changing in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. We've restructured the whole lot. Get involved, you lot. Okay, let's start meeting IRL in real life, and let's start moving it forwards. We know we can build something better. Separation and remigration. Folks, I'm going to have to go. It's been a pleasure as always, Rags. Thank you for having me on, my friend.
Not a problem. Anytime. So
I'll speak to you soon.
Right. Take care, bud.
Good night, mate.
Right, folks. That was brilliant. Thanks very much to Woody for that. I really appreciate that. I don't know how I have next weekend, but the following weekend I have William on. That's life, but not if you know it. So that just leaves me to say good night, God bless, or in my case, Odin bless.